Friday, March 18th, 2022. A lot of things I want to talk about today. Before I do, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, share this video all over your social media, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. I want to get right into it today. A lot to talk about. I want to talk about possible 401ks being frozen, bank bail-ins, bank closures, gas theft. A lot happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. And could you be a casualty of this? And the answer is without a doubt. Let's get right into it. I printed an article out today from the economic collapse, an unprecedented wave of brazen gasoline thefts that is unlike anything we have ever seen before. So, as most of you have probably heard, that's quite an epidemic now where criminals, much of this organized, are now drilling holes in people's gas tanks and stealing their gasoline. And I don't know if you know how much a gas tank on an automobile is. It can be anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. So it's not just that an individual's gasoline got stolen, but the cost now to repair or replace the gas tank is going to be well over $1,000. So people really being affected by this. In this article, it says if we are already seeing this kind of criminal activity, what happens when the price of gas goes out of control? Comment down below. What could we see? I think gas is getting out of control now. Super unleaded by my house here, $6.39, $6.89 for a gallon of diesel. And as prices go up, we're going to see more criminal activity where people are going to have damage done to their cars and their gas and diesel stolen. But what is this going to look like if the price gets to $7, $8, $9, $10? What does it look like? And I think it goes beyond that. I believe we'll start seeing huge problems at the grocery stores because the food prices are going right up alongside the fuel prices. And so when do we begin to see these brash type of criminal activities take place at the Walmarts or your local grocery store? And they're not going for computers or iPhones, but they're going to the meat department. When's that going to take place? But this is going to continue to get much more out of control. And it's not going to just be gasoline. And remember, when people get hungry, they get desperate, they're coming to your house. So make sure that your security is situated. And I don't mean making sure you have the lights on or you have new light bulbs or you have a motion detector. You better have real security in place and ready to go. Wall Street Journal today, homes earned more for owners than their jobs last year. Get this, the typical home increased $52,667 from 2020 to 2021. This on the Wall Street Journal today. Average full-time worker here in the U.S. earned about $50,000 last year. So they earned $2,667 on average more on their home going up in price than they did at their jobs. This is the twilight zone that we are in. This is another indicator of why you know this thing is getting very, very close to blowing up, that we're on at the very top of this bubble now. And there's more indication that this bubble is beginning to leak air. Sales of U.S. previously owned homes declines to a 6-month low. That on Yahoo Finance. CNBC today, home sales fell far more than expected in February as mortgage rates rose and supply remained tight. This is another warning sign, ladies and gentlemen. And as the article goes on to say, existing home sales in February fell a much wider than expected gap of 7.2% month to month. The median price for an existing home sold in February was $357,000, 15% more than a year ago. So we have inflation, we have gas prices, we have rising mortgage rates, we have all of this uncertainty taking place right here in the US, uncertainty over in Eastern Europe, really global uncertainty. And you have people that are living, for the most part, majority of this country, living paycheck to paycheck. I think, and this is just my opinion, I think this would be the worst possible time to even think about buying a home. And let's not forget that all this new home inventory that will be coming on the market beginning this summer, what is that going to do? What about the million plus people who are in foreclosure or in default right now, 90 days plus delinquent, going into foreclosure? These homes will be hitting the market at some point, ladies and gentlemen. So you've got people severely delinquent. You've got all of this new housing that's going to be flooding the market. You've got landlords that are going to continue to be selling properties after they get through the eviction process and getting their tenants out. Gas prices, inflation, and another big killer here will be the rising mortgage rates. What's the magic number when they hit 4.75? 5.25, where people are just priced out because they are just looking at the monthly payments. So this to me guarantees that we are going to see home prices coming down, that we're going to begin to see the true valuation of these assets such as real estate and what they're really going to be worth. And it's going to get much tougher for people to borrow money, and people are so overextended right now. How many people out there spending 40, 50% of their income on a mortgage? How long does this last before something bad happens? We're going to watch another housing crash, ladies and gentlemen, and I have a feeling this one's going to be much worse than the last one. Bullard says Fed moving too slowly to quell high inflation and putting economy at risk. Another one from CNBC, St. Louis Fed's Bullard says the central bank should raise rates above 3% this year. We're on target to go 1.9%. I think he's 100% right. I think we need to be minimally at 3% right now. Is this going to hurt the stock market? Absolutely. But 1.9% is just a drop in the swimming pool. It's going to do absolutely nothing. Either we're going to get aggressive and fight inflation or we're not. He released a statement today explaining his dissent for this week's decision to raise rates by 25 basis points. Really, it's an insult. It was absolutely nothing. It's useless, but it is going to mean that you will pay more on your credit card. You're going to pay more to buy that car and finance that car. You're going to pay more on that mortgage. If you have an adjustable rate, you're going to be paying more. So anytime you need to borrow money, you're going to be paying more. But if we do not get aggressive, severely aggressive right now with this inflation problem that we have, this thing is going to get so far out of control that it's going to be very, very hard to get control of it, to rein it back in. Because if it gets so far out of control, they would have to get so aggressive that you're looking at the housing crash, bond crash, stock market crash, the Greatest Depression, all this happening at the same time. And you know, just going back to talking about the fuel and people stealing fuel, what's going to happen when you go to the gas station and there's just no gas? When you go to the grocery store and there's just no food? I mean, we're beginning to see things like this happen, especially at the grocery store. I have been to a gas station where it was out of gas, but you know, it was probably back up and running within the hour. But it's going to get so expensive that people are going to get priced out of driving, priced out of even going to their jobs. And we're going to see a point where I think some stations are going to just run out of gas, and it's going to get harder and harder to get fuel and harder to get food. So, you know, be ready for this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Maersk warns that China's shutdown disrupts supply chain. Another guarantee that it is going to get harder and harder to get goods. It's going to get harder to get food. This is one, if not the biggest shipping companies in the world, telling you that these lockdowns are going to disrupt supply chains. So if you need something right now, get it. If you need something right now, go out and get it and have it. Because here's the thing, either it's not going to be available down the road, or it's going to be much more expensive. So if you need something, get it today. 50% of companies, this on CNBC, 50% of companies want workers back in office 5 days a week. This is going to be another problem. Now they want people to come back to the office when gas is $6 a gallon. And if you're in certain parts of LA, it's over $7 a gallon. So another problem with this is people bought homes farther out because they wanted to get more for their money, and they figured, well, they're going to be working at home, so let's go buy a home 1, 2, 3 hours away from the office because we don't have to go to the office anymore. Well, now the office wants you back, And so you may have a 1, 2, or 3 hour drive one way to work, and you're paying $6, $6.39 for super to drive to work. This is going to be a nightmare for so many people. And this will also have an effect on the housing market. And it's definitely going to have an effect on people's bottom line and people's income. CNBC today, 70% of medical collection debt will soon be removed from credit reports, and it could boost your credit score. So next, I guess we won't have to pay back our auto loans. We won't have to pay back our college debt. Maybe we won't even have to pay back our mortgages. So why not just give everybody $1 million and a Lambo and give everybody an 800 FICA and call it a day? So, I mean, this is how insane and out of whack everything is now. So now if you can live in your house without making a mortgage payment for a year, and it won't ding your credit, it won't be included as a default or a late payment, nothing. We'll give you 6 months forbearance on your pickup truck, no problem. So we don't really know at this point who's paying their bills and who's not. How many homes are still in some type of forbearance? They're working on a loan modification at this point, still not paying. How many retailers are not paying rent on their buildings, their stores? How many restaurants aren't paying rent? And now we'll have people not paying their medical collection debt. And so everybody will have perfect credit, even though everybody has more debt than they can handle, debt coming out of their ears, and yet they'll have an 800 FICA. So everything will be fine. So we're just manipulating the whole system to keep this whole thing chugging along, I guess. I want to share one last bit of news with you. I watched a YouTube channel last night, Gold Silver Pros, very good. And they had Andy Schectman on from Miles Franklin. He was the guest. And if you get a couple minutes, check it out. It is a fantastic interview. I've been watching Andy Schectman for a few years. Brilliant, brilliant guy. And he really talks about how everything that's happening right now is accelerating the crash. And why all of us should be holding physical gold and silver, not paper, but physical gold and silver. And he says, and I just jotted down some notes from the video, but he said the U.S. has militarized the dollar by restricting its use by countries the administration wants to punish. A reserve currency is supposed to be available to everyone, not just nations we choose. Countries around the globe are coming to realize that the U.S. cannot be trusted and anyone can be locked out of the SWIFT system at a whim. And, you know, as he says that, just think about how you could be locked out of your bank account, how the ATMs could be shut off, how your 401k could be frozen, how just a cyber attack or a grid down could change everything. So it really makes you think outside the box here. We have now drawn two superpowers together, ladies and gentlemen. And Mr. Schectman says this: if they released a gold-backed ruble yuan, it would be the end of the dollar as the world's singular reserve currency. Right now, he says it's very unlikely, but could that happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Absolutely. Are things accelerating? Absolutely. Are we responsible for this acceleration? Yeah, no doubt we are. We're taking these two superpowers and we're literally pushing them together. But the framework is being laid right now is what he is saying. Andy goes on to say inflation is out of control and it will be with us until the dollar is gone as the world's singular reserve currency, or the Fed destroys the economy and the stock market with huge interest rate hikes. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, we are stuck in a corner here, or the Fed is, and either way, we're going to pay a very, very severe price here as a nation. Inflation will punish the stock market and the real estate market and the economy. And capital will be looking for safety. And where is the safety? The safety is in physical gold, and silver will come along for the ride. Most people, he says, will be caught off guard. Your pensions, your 401ks are making you feel rich and wealthy. All this, remember, ladies and gentlemen, is invested in stocks and bonds and real estate trusts. If the dollar becomes threatened, all of this blows up, including the wealth you had in your house, your pensions, your stocks, your bonds, everything. It's all going to blow up. And the odds of this happening are beginning to get more and more real. You have to ask yourself, as Andy Schectman says, could your assets be frozen? Could you be locked out of your 401k? Could your bank do a bail-in? Could your money market be gated? Stocks, bonds, real estate, all-time highs, with rates going up. And he asked the question, with all of this, with all these threats, with all these bubbles, where else, where can you really go? Where can you put that deflating cash right now, that monopoly money? Where can you put it other than gold and silver, especially gold? When you look at the inflation, you look at all the threats, all the uncertainty, all the bubbles, and the risk that we could see bail-ins, that we could see bailouts, that your money could be frozen in a 401k, a money market. These are real threats. And we're beginning to see more and more of this around the world. And let's not forget the threat of cyber attacks, grids going down, things like that. You've all seen the bank closures. You've all witnessed ATM closures. So as Andy Schectman says, where else do you put money right now? And he's absolutely right, because you look at gold, has no counterparty risk, never been worth zero. You can put it in your pocket. Nobody knows you have it. You can sell it for other assets. It's very hard to track. So extremely liquid. And again, never been worth zero. So where else do you put money? Well, I like gold a lot. And like I've said in the past, and as Andy Schectman has said, and many of you have said, silver will go along for the ride. Much more volatile, but it is going to go along for the ride also. So I thought it was a really, really very, very good interview. So if you get a chance, check it out. Came out yesterday. But I'm going to wrap it up right there. It's a beautiful weekend, and markets seem to be just loving what's happening in Eastern Europe. What has changed over the last few days? We're seeing things continuing to erupt over in Eastern Europe. And one day we're being told that the markets don't like it. Well, now the markets seem to just like all this disruption taking place in Eastern Europe. So again, you know, it's all controlled. Plunge protection team, the Fed's still in there. It's all very, very controlled, very, very manipulated until one day when it isn't. Remember, we put the world on the dollar standard. It will be the world that takes America off the dollar standard. And that day's coming. And we're beginning to see the framework being laid out right now. You can still buy these assets extremely cheap. And buy what other people are ignoring. Buy what the masses are ignoring. These markets, you all know, at some point are going to blow up. And there will be a run to safety. And that's going to be precious metals. So that's my opinion. That's not financial advice. It's also Andy Schectman's opinion. Have a phenomenal weekend. God bless you all. It's a good weekend to get out, prepare a little bit, get in better shape. And thank God for everything you have. We are so blessed. I want to end this video by saying this. We are so blessed. So blessed. Doesn't matter where you live, what you drive, what you're worth, what kind of watch you're wearing today, what kind of shoes you're wearing. You are blessed. Don't forget it. Talk to all of you very, very soon.